Is the Nintendo Switch 2 too expensive? This is the number one question as the system gets ready to launch in 2 months. This is such a big question, in fact, that many people on social media have already come out and said that they would not be buying the Nintendo Switch 2 because of the price, particularly because of the price of Mario Kart. Personally, I think a lot of the people who are saying they will not buy a Switch 2, most of them are just being hyperbolic. Once the system comes out, they are going to buy it. And in fact, I think most of the people who will not be buying a Switch 2 are the people who did not grow up on Nintendo and people who most likely did not own a Switch 1. But even with all that being said, we do need to talk about the prices because yes, $80 for a Mario Kart game is pretty high. So the question is, why does Nintendo think that they can charge you $80 for a Mario Kart game? Full disclosure, I actually think $80 for a Mario Kart game is not too expensive. Is it a little bit high? Yes, it is. Would I prefer $10 less? Yeah, I would, but I do think Mario Kart $80 is a good price. And I also think the console, $450 for the console, is a very good price. And here's the reason why I think Nintendo is both justified and is able to charge you $80 for a Mario Kart game. And again, before I start, I'm gonna say this. Yes, I understand if you are somebody who thinks this is absolutely ridiculous. There is no reason or rhyme for Nintendo to charge you that kind of money for a game. I understand your argument. I do think you need to keep in mind that Mario Kart is not just a game for most gamers. For example, Mario Kart is probably going to be the very first game my son plays when he's old enough. And this is the case for millions of people around the world, that Nintendo games is their first entry into any kind of gaming experience. And it's a really good entry because Nintendo is specifically a gaming company. Most gamers grow up with very, very good memories of playing Nintendo games that by the time that they grow up and start having kids, they want to keep those experiences going. So they are likely to buy those same games that they grew up playing, Mario games, and play it with their kids. So yes, that is one reason why Nintendo games are generally more expensive than other games. But we also need to keep in mind that Nintendo games also do have a higher value than most other games. For example, Nintendo games are the only games that you can still pay full price for at a regular store, even if they came out years and years before. Right now, Nintendo Switch 1 games are still priced at full retail. And the reason isn't just because of greed. The real reason is because gamers, people, consumers value Nintendo games and Nintendo hardware so much that they are willing to pay the price needed to get one of those devices. But that does come with one really good benefit, that is that Nintendo games also keep their value much longer than most other games. You can go trade in your Switch 1 games and you will still get something reasonably back for that game. And that's the number one reason why I think Nintendo games are the only games that you should be actively trying to buy on physical, because they keep their value for so long. And the question is, well, why is this? How did Nintendo even get to this place? And the answer to that is simple. For a very long time, Nintendo has made sure to build their image so that if the name Nintendo shows up, consumers understand that they are getting quality. And when it comes to Nintendo and quality, we do need to mention this, that Nintendo released their games in either impeccable condition or at least release their games in such good conditions that they have the least amount of complaints from consumers. Yes, the one exception would be Pokemon, especially in the past, say, 3 years. Pokemon games have not really lived up to what people expect, but keep in mind, Pokemon is only 1/3 owned by Nintendo and the other 2/3 are not owned by Nintendo. So perhaps Nintendo doesn't have full control over Pokemon games. But outside of that, every single game that Nintendo comes out with that is made with Nintendo, that is made in-house, comes out in very good conditions, Unlike most other games, especially if you are a PC gamer, where pretty much every game that comes out on PC does not come out complete and often requires many patches just to make the game run optimally. But that's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Nintendo and Nintendo games, because remember when I said that Nintendo is like the only true gaming company? That's honestly kind of true, because Nintendo is the only company where innovation in the gaming space is particularly a Nintendo doctrine. Yes, this is written in the doctrine of Nintendo that they need to constantly innovate. This is the reason why Nintendo is the only gaming company where they will always give you something new and something fresh. And yes, even with the Switch 2, there is something new and fresh, even if it doesn't seem that crazy because it's just a mouse. It might not seem like that big of a deal, but again, ask yourself, who else in the gaming space is doing something like this? Innovating in gaming is a doctrine of Nintendo's, and the truth is a lot of gamers like that doctrine because it means that Nintendo will always try to find a way to make you play their games, and Nintendo has been extremely successful at that, except for the Wii U. That was not successful. And this is important because one of the biggest claims against Mario Kart is people saying Mario Kart doesn't look that good. Graphically, it doesn't look that good. So why would you charge $80 for it? And Nintendo has proven over and over again that gaming isn't just about graphical fidelity, that it's actually about something else, something much more tangible, something about putting a controller in somebody's hands and making them just see something extremely enjoyable. And that's what Nintendo's games give you. They may not be the most graphically capable games, and they may not follow current trends, but they will always be unique, they will always be Nintendo specific, and they will always be fun. And this is the reason why people go to Nintendo. So the crux of my argument is this: the reason why Nintendo games cost what they cost is because people are willing to pay that for Nintendo games, because they know that when it comes to Nintendo games, they're getting memories. As I said before, because of the type of game that Mario Kart is, it's often the first memory that most people have of serious gaming. And that kind of memory is extremely valuable. So if you ask me, am I willing to pay $80 for Mario Kart so that my son's first experience with gaming is Mario Kart? The answer is yes, I am absolutely willing to pay $80. As a matter of fact, I would gladly pay $100 because that kind of memory is just, you just can't put a value on that. And when you combine that with the innovation of Nintendo systems, people need to understand that Nintendo systems are used in medical field for rehab. Like, we're not talking about a gaming device. We're not talking about an Xbox sitting on your desk. We're talking about a device that is so unique that people are using it in healthcare. The amount that people are willing to pay for that kind of experience is higher than what they're willing to pay for other kinds of experiences. So the answer to why does Mario Kart cost $80 is because people are willing to pay $80 for the kind of experience that Mario Kart gives them and the kind of experience that Nintendo gives them overall, which no other gaming company gives them that kind of experience. And yes, the same goes for PlayStation and the same goes for Xbox. But in this case, Nintendo is unique because Nintendo is giving something to consumers that no other company is giving them. Yes, that is the reason why Nintendo can charge you $80 for a Mario Kart game. And that is the reason why I will buy Mario Kart and why you will buy Mario Kart.